Welcome back to another episode on the Coffee with Crainer Show. Today I have Arthur Barbut here. He is the CEO of the Downtown Windsor Business Accelerator, and he's also the founder of The Art of Startup Incorporated. So I'm glad to have him here today. He's put in over 8 years into helping businesses in the Windsor Essex community thrive, and the Downtown Accelerator is the hub just for that. And they really focus on creating some of the best businesses in our city. So glad to have Arthur on the show today. Thank you for joining me.
My pleasure, Lyndon. As always, it's nice to catch up with you and talk.
Absolutely. So I start every conversation with a question about coffee. Do you drink coffee?
I drink a lot of coffee.
A lot of coffee? Where do you usually go to get it?
Well, when we're open here, we have Capaz Cafe, but I'm also a huge fan of Anchor in town. So support local as much as possible. We're selling the same type of coffee as the one for Anchor at Capaz.
Oh, perfect.
Hopefully who's making it. So
yes.
Yeah,
I've heard nothing good but great things from Anchor Coffee. So I kind of want to start the conversation because with the recent COVID, businesses and people have been having to change their lifestyle and the way they do work because of this pandemic. It definitely has had a huge effect on businesses in the community and also individuals as well. So I wanted to know, how has your business changed due to this pandemic?
So great question. Obviously for us, being a physical space as well, that portion of it sort of disappeared. So we had to move to virtual everything basically. So we have weekly virtual meetings with our members. Also some of our larger tenants in the building, for example, like post-productions, they're a theater group. So basically, what do? Their whole business is bringing people together, right? So basically having to work with all of our members and tenants to help them through this challenge as well, and make sure that we help them stay in business and make it, survive till we see hopefully the end of this, shutdown. I mean, things will not going to go back to normal. It's going to be a new normal, but in our case, we're trying to do everything possible to assist our companies, our tenants, and our members to basically survive and prepare themselves to come out of this crisis. And we've had a lot of help, obviously. The government, federally, provincially, locally, I think has done a great job in terms of the response. So there's a lot of tools out there that we're introducing to our members and tenants. There's a $40,000 interest-free loan from the government that's possible. Yep. Obviously, the CERB has been a great asset to all the people who could not get paid. I think the government's also rolled out a 75% wage subsidy. So a lot of our members and tenants are going to take advantage of that, including the Accelerator. So obviously, it's just getting adjusted to the new normal and staying mentally focused, because too shall pass, like everything else. And it's I think the biggest challenge for everyone is the unknown, right? Like, how long is this going to go on? I think one of our main jobs was to keep everybody sort of, it's going to be okay. We're going to get through it. We're here. We're available. If you need to have a conversation, if you're stressing out, it's always nice to have somebody to have that conversation with and to bring you sort of back and ground you. Like I said, this too shall pass, and it's the most important thing is to stay mentally and emotionally sane through the ordeal. Right.
That's exactly it. So with the Downtown Accelerator, you have how many businesses are in your facility?
So we have about 40, ranging from large tenants like Graphics Plus and iDream Interactive to smaller businesses of 1 to 2 people in our co-working space. So we're actually just launched a free virtual membership last week to allow people, again, to take advantage of some of the resources and the networks available through us. And I think we've had 5 or 6 additional new people sign up, which is great. So I'll share that with you as well if you want to post it with your following.
Absolutely.
We greatly appreciate it. And again, it's having access to, the knowledge and the network of the people at the accelerator, because it's not just having access to myself, but then you get to access to 40 other businesses and individuals who are here.
Yeah.
So, it's sort of a really critical component that I think we overlook sometimes in business. Having not just the resources, but the right resources and the right advice as you go through and try to grow your business or scale, get to the next level. Just having the money itself or just simply resources is not enough. You really need to know how to utilize them properly to be successful.
Yeah. So you mentioned what was the program called that you're offering right now, the free one?
So we have a free virtual membership. So anybody can go to our website, downtownaccelerator.com, and it's right there. They can just sign up. And again, part of that, obviously they have access to myself, to Christopher, and all the people that are part of the accelerator, but any of our programming that we're doing, whether it's going to be virtual or as we transition back, they'll have access to our physical programming as well when we roll it back.
Perfect.
But also we started, I'm very excited about this, we started an Accelerator book club. So Accelerator Entrepreneurial Games. So last week, no, two weeks ago, we had our first book talk, and it was The Alchemist, which is one of my all-time favorite books, and I think it's very fitting for today's day and age, and as we're going through this crisis. Yeah. And the next one we're doing is The Lean Startup, and it's going to be in a couple of weeks. So again, everybody who signs up will have, we encourage them to also participate in that. This is a time when you can actually get a lot of stuff done for yourself, like, in terms of preparing and investing in yourself. And I think reading all the great successful entrepreneurs that I admire are avid, voracious readers. So I think it's really important for us to get as much knowledge and information, and not just necessarily, I started with The Alchemist, that's not necessarily a business book, but it's a very inspiring book. So it's not necessarily just reading continuously like, business improvement and productivity books, but reading books that will elevate your mindset as well. That's exactly it. It's so important right now. I've noticed a lot of people are jumping onto LinkedIn Learning, different things like that, free learning, but you've heard it from Arthur himself. I posted it as a ticker on this live stream, but check out downtownaccelerator.com. They have a free virtual membership for businesses. You'll have access to Arthur and the team there, and they can really help coach you to take you to the next level and create new ideas here in Windsor Essex. So be sure to check that out. And thanks for sharing that. Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. So with the accelerator, how are you guys preparing for the future after COVID-19? It's so uncertain, but how are you preparing for it? So I've had a lot of conversation with a lot of the other organizations in town and businesses and our mentors and Rakesh from the chamber, who's a great friend and a great resource. And I think in our case, we really have to prepare ourselves for a huge influx of potential new clients, because there's going to be a lot of people who will no longer have the same jobs. Obviously, we have the FCA closure as well, which will impact not just FCA employees, the third shift, but second and third tier suppliers to FCA. So we're really preparing to put in place programs to basically deal with that massive influx of new individuals who are going to come and try to start a business or use entrepreneurship as their way forward to create a new economic reality for themselves. So right now we're also doing a lot of planning in terms of what the procedure in the physical space will look like when people come back. Obviously having one point of entry so we can log everybody coming in to make sure that in case somebody is sick, that we can trace it as quickly as possible, ensuring that obviously we have sanitation stations everywhere. And, fortunately for us, we do have a wealth of space. So we have a massive building, 55,000 square feet. So we can plan that fairly comfortably in terms of having the 6 feet of social distancing space. So, but yeah, it's a lot of planning right now in terms of creating programs for people who are going to be displaced. Also, when I think of people like yourselves, students who, had different plans. I'm going to graduate, I'm going to have this job. Some of those jobs are not going to be there. So again, looking at entrepreneurship as a potential future career or working for a startup, I think is something that's going to become more and more normal. Mm-hmm. And one of our companies, ChoreSeek, is launching a COVID-free version on Monday. And again, people can sign up to provide services or do service. So you're going to see a lot, I think, of expansion in the gig economy. People will have multiple jobs. They'll be doing a lot of freelancing, and you probably see a lot more startups being formed in Windsor, Essex.
Yeah.
Necessity is the mother of all invention, right? So sometimes having a crisis like this really puts things in perspective, and you realize, hey, we have to change course. And how do we create a new economy that's more robust, more resilient, and has sets us up for the future, as opposed to always relying on mostly manufacturing, automotive, which our region is amazing at, but as you see, it's always the cyclical, and then when you get hit really hard, and we usually we get hit the worst and are the last to come out of the recession. So hopefully with the new types of businesses that are going to be generated in Windsor, Essex, we'll have a little bit more of a really resilient economy where you can actually, as you can see, you can work from home and things like that. Even large companies. So when speaking with Rakesh, he had a meeting with KPMG, and they said they're probably going to shutter down 30 to 40% of their office spaces and have people work out of spaces like ours.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And I would encourage anyone that's looking to start up a business to check out the Downtown Windsor Business Accelerator. There's 55,000 square feet. It's a business ecosystem, as Arthur always mentions. It's really a creative hub where you're able to collaborate with other businesses at the accelerator. It's a great opportunity to start something up, and especially during this time, there's going to be a lot of people that are starting up their own businesses after this pans out, because you don't know what the future is going to look like, but that could be some way to have a job after this for sure. So definitely check out the accelerator. It's posted down below as well.
And if I can just build on your point, Lyndon.
Yeah, absolutely.
Being an entrepreneur is really just a mindset, right? And it's able to work during volatile times of crisis like now, and being able to just stay calm and see the opportunity. Wherever there's a crisis, there's also an opportunity. So it's really being able to adapt and evolve. It's very simple. Business is just like nature. It's evolution of the survival of the fittest, and I think we need to teach that more and more. Even businesses and established businesses will have to think more of how do we become more innovative and entrepreneurial. And that's why I like the Lean Startup, because they look at entrepreneurship as being able to take place anywhere from a social enterprise to a massive corporation like 3M, for example, or Intuit. They have 7,000 employees, but they still act like have lean startups in entrepreneur centers within their large corporations. So I think for us in Windsor, Essex, it's really important to sort of embrace this new reality and realize that, hey, it is what it is. Now let's make the best of it. And how do we take advantage of all the incredible people and resources and that we do have here locally?
That's exactly it. And now, what do you think the future is going to look like, either from a bigger scale or a smaller scale? What is the future going to look like after COVID-19 passes?
Well, I think you'll see a lot more corporations and even larger companies that could do it are gonna do a lot more of this virtual work from home. I think they're realizing their employees are just as productive, not more productive. It allows a much greater degree of flexibility and freedom. There's going to be a massive need for everybody, including ourselves, to be very careful on how we plan our return to work. So how do we do it with safety in mind? I think people right now are feeling pretty good because we've done a great job in terms of sort of flattening the curve, and people have been well behaved, and certainly in Canada anyways, not necessarily so much across the border, but we've done a good job in respecting the rules. But I think it gives you that false sense of like, oh, everything's okay now. It's not necessarily the case, right? We've seen it in Japan, Sweden, other places where people return to work, and then there's huge spikes again in cases. So this will not, the world will not return to normal until we have a vaccine. So how do we ensure that we come back to whatever the new normal is, but in the most safe possible way, to ensure that we don't have a spike in cases. So I still expect to see a lot of work being done virtually. A lot of meetings will still be virtual, and a lot more startups focused on providing solutions for some of these challenges, like everything online, things like that. Even the way stores have had to change in terms of curb pickup and things like that. There's been a lot of push that's forced companies to react. So for entrepreneurs that can take advantage of that opportunity and provide services and platforms that can help companies adjust to the new normal, I think are going to be very, very successful. Obviously, you see Zoom and some of the other platforms that are doing phenomenal right now.
Absolutely, yeah. So what do you think business owners right now should be doing to prepare for when things get somewhat back to normal?
So I think it's really crucial to sort of take this time and be mindful of, there's many things that we can't do right now, but there's also a lot of things that we can do. So, this is the time when you can work on your social media. You can update your website. You can actually start putting documentation and things in place on how you deal with, what the new normal is going to be when you come back to work. Especially if you have staff of a certain size, it's your legal responsibility to ensure that you're bringing everybody back safely. So I think it's realizing that this is not a waste of time right now. Yeah, it may feel like we're all stuck inside, but it's actually an incredible gift in terms of being able to sort of plan the future. And the companies that will, and the people that are doing this right now and are planning, I think are going to be successful and are going to be much quicker in integrating as we come back. And everybody who's sort of complained about, well, I can't do anything. Well, you're going to be in trouble when you come back, because things will move really quickly. Mm-hmm. And if you didn't have any foresight and you didn't plan, I think it's going to be tough to adjust. I think in Shawano, you're seeing probably, they said 20 to 30% of small businesses are not even returning. Yeah. So there's some massive numbers, right? So in our case too, in Windsor, I expect also to get a huge influx of new clients from businesses that can't afford their long-term leases, right? We have flexible space, you can rent monthly, et cetera. You can just get an open office if you want. You can get a single office, all kinds of options that are just not available anywhere else. And a lot of people who didn't have landlords, we were because we own our building, we're very mindful of how we operate and how we deal with our members and tenants, and our job to ensure their success and survival. So we've been obviously very accommodating, but that's not necessarily the case across the board. So I'm expecting a lot of that as well. That we're gonna.
So we have a question here from Ali in the comments. He says, as a business owner, how can we motivate our employees to be more productive, especially during this time? That's a great question, Ali. Employees at home they're not being watched on what they're doing. How do we motivate them from home to be productive?
Well, yeah, great question, Ali. I think, it's having a great culture. If you have a great work culture, it doesn't take much to, people want to be a part of it, so they're going to do their part. The idea is to use this as a, reinforcement for having more freedom. So now you have the opportunity to work from home, and if you're going to be productive and motivated to do a good job, then this opportunity can be extended in the future as well. So I think that adds a lot of flexibility to employees, and I think a lot of people do enjoy having the ability to work from home and get things done when they're productive, right? Like working from home, like for me, for example, last night I was working, till this morning, till 4 a.m., right? Like you don't know when you're going to be creative and turn it on, right? So working from home does give you that flexibility to work when you're feeling productive and at your best. So, use that as motivation by telling employees, hey, this is a great opportunity for you to basically control your schedule and get the most out of your day.
Yeah, no, I think it's been, I've definitely been, I appreciate being able to work at home. I think it's great. As long as you don't take advantage of it, that's most important. And back to what he was saying, is just being productive while you're at home is going to allow you to have this opportunity in the future. So you answered that question perfectly. But I wanted to know, what have you learned as a business owner during this pandemic?
Oh, it's interesting. We have our virtual meeting with our members every Thursday, and just to see the emotional roller coaster that our members are going through, and figuring out our role and how do we keep everybody again motivated and just believing and knowing that this will be okay, right? Like for us, I've been in this business for 8 years now, and as you know, the Accelerator is kind of an incredible story in terms of like we have very limited resources, and we've gone through some really incredible experiences. So for us, this is not much has changed in terms of dealing with uncertainty, and chaos is kind of our thing. So we're good at it. But it's then taking ownership of what we've done and basically being able to tell everybody else, hey, it's also going to be okay. We've been through this. We can assure you that if you just stay calm, and obviously you're going to have your rough days. When I think the advice was last Thursday, somebody said, well, you just need to cry. It's okay if you feel this way. Just have a good cry.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's just being able to just reconnect with our members and just tell them that it's going to be fine and it's going to be okay and we're going to get through this, and just keeping it updated with all the things that we're doing and all the things that are coming out to help their business. Because again, money is a big challenge right now. So how do you stay in business while you're shut down for 2-3 months, right? Not everybody's got that cash flow, right? So for us, as a business, we've had to deal with that. So we were fortunate. Libro Credit Union is a great partner. They're in the building. So there are banks. So we work with them. We got the $40,000 loan fairly quickly. We're also working with BDC on a low interest loan because we operate like a lean startup ourselves. So all the things that we've done as a business, we're trying to coach our businesses and companies to sort of take advantage and just to stay afloat. And then again, trying to motivate them to prepare themselves for, when things do open up. Okay, what are you going to do? What is the sequence? How are you going to come back? So you can hit the ground running. That's
exactly it. So is there anything else you wanted to share to anyone watching, whether it be people that are looking to start up a business after this is over, or anything in general before we close up here today?
You know what? Believe in yourself. And if you have an idea, you owe it to yourself to try. If you believe in something, you're passionate about something, there's no better time than the present. And in a way, this has made it okay to do that, right? So there's right now is probably the best time you can actually, go for it and take a chance. It's also one of the easiest times in a way to have access to cheap financing. So if you're going to start a business, this is probably not a bad time to do it.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
We're always here, so we're happy to take a call, send us an email, give us a call. I'm personally happy to talk to anyone and answer questions. And
Awesome. Well, thank you, Arthur. And I do highly encourage anyone who is watching to check out the Downtown Accelerator. Arthur gave me a tour last year, and it was absolutely phenomenal. The facility they have, it's huge. It's 55,000 square feet, business ecosystem. And I definitely recommend checking that out if you want to start up a business, especially during this time. So thank you for joining me today, Arthur.
It's my pleasure, Lyndon, as always. Thank you.
Thank you. Everyone stay safe, and be sure to check out my YouTube channel, and you can watch the replay if you missed out on this. So we'll talk next time. Thanks so much.